Hello and welcome back to the Caolan S Rugby Podcast, switching our attention once again as we reflect on the Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup round of 16, where Munster held on to get a famous victory out in La Rochelle, Leinster squashed Harlequins, Connacht beat Cardiff for a third time this season, and Ulster put in a brave yet losing performance in Bordeaux. I am stand-in co-host Hugh, but in a twist of fate, a twist of plot, Caolan is also here as a guest on his own podcast. That's how important this man is that he can be a guest on his own platform.
Look, lads, I just want to say you're very blessed to have me. I had no voice this morning. I'm staying with a guy named Dave, and we both had to communicate with sign language this morning because we had no voice. It was gone. I ended up in a hug with two unnamed Munster players yesterday at full time because they were sitting beside me. Just this, lads, I would recommend winning in France. It's just unreal. And I should be saying bienvenue at La Rochelle, but I have no French. So, yeah, unreal to be on as a guest for like literally 2 minutes before we go for drinks.
There you go. Just all the flex, all of the jet set lifestyle that these rugby podcasters have that the rest of us just look up to.
It's grand for some.
Grand for
Yes,
some.
it
was, as I said on the group chat earlier on, he was the one that parachuted. I got stuck. So that's how high life he's living it in France at the minute. So
yeah. So in case people hadn't figured out, it's not just me and Caolan. It is also Adam Latham and Aaron Talbot from the Ulster fanness and another Munster fan, because apparently they don't come in ones.
Can I hold my hand up on this one? As the organizer, I didn't think Munster and Ulster were going to win, so I said I'd get these on, and we'll go with the other provinces later on. But now it looks like I'm going to have to reshape things next week. So Patricia or Eric or whoever I'm going meeting for drinks right now. If you're out there, you're next.
Well, and there's no Leinster representation either, which just like this is clearly not an Irish outlet.
Yeah, anyway. You count, so it's fine.
Oh, do I? Okay, that's good. So let's begin then, Caolan. Since you're so busy, we better start with you. Munster versus La Rochelle, a famous win. An edgy game. Maybe the nerves affected the quality at times, but it was the most edge of your seat match of the weekend. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it was. I could start with the praise, or I could start with the nerves. The nerves were every expletive under the sun possible. I'm pretty sure I was dehydrated at one point and had to down a bottle of water to get back to neutral playing field. But the La Rochelle fans were amazing. The Munster fans, 2,000 lads. There was about 7,000 Munster fans there.
It sounded like a lot, which is, by the way, La Rochelle Stadium, people think it's massive. It's not. It's not a big stadium. It's a lot smaller than Thomond Park. But on the telly, when something happened in favour of Munster, the crowd cheered, and you're like, huh? Yeah. How many of them is there?
It was unreal. My reckon is about 5,000-6,000 at the game, and maybe another 500 to 1,000 around the town. Like they did the march. It's all up on my socials because of course it is. And it was just a sea of red. And because the Red Army podcast and Caolan S Rugby podcast are big prop enthusiasts, I should say, there was Munster fans with a flag that was Stephen Archer, his face on Jesus Christ's body. I shit you not.
I saw that. I saw
Archer's name. It's a 45-minute walk, and we were chanting Stephen Archer the whole way. And you know what? We should have known then. We we were going to do it. But all it took was the how do I phrase this? The best 10 in Ireland kicking an unbelievable drop goal. Fineen getting very lucky with a high tackle, and Tygberg doing what Tygberg does. And it's a big pity. We were in the Delmas as well today. It's a big pity Ulster couldn't make it now an Interpro. But my big concern now is I'm supposed to be at another match at 3:00 next week, and Munster at 3:00 next week. So I need to figure that out. That's a tomorrow problem. Tonight we celebrate again.
Was Stephen Archer's body on a Jesus on a cross?
No, like a holy. I'll send you the photos.
It's on Casey's story, is it not? Or is it on
could be.
It's on someone's. It's on one of the Munster players' stories.
It's also on my Twitter somewhere.
Yeah, that's probably where I saw it. Yeah.
It's just I just had this image of Munster fans carrying a cross through La Rochelle.
Ah, no, it was too warm for that. We didn't need to let put on a good fire around it at all. It was way too warm. It was roasting. I think
My mission for the rest of the podcast is to get a crown of thorns joke in somewhere. But
I could pick a province. I won't say which one. I will let you go in a minute, lads, and to talk about this game. I know Aaron and Adam will be buzzing, and the other will be still buzzing because that's just what he does. But thank you for letting me on my own show really quickly. I know you're all in capable hands with you and the lads, but I do want to say for any Munster fans who were there, for any Munster fans who weren't there as well, like the support was amazing. So I got in early, did the march, were there before the team bus, and I'm not a tall man. Now, none of us have met in person. I'm not a tall man. I'm only about 5'8" on a good day, and I can't see much, but I can see Tom Ahern getting off the bus because he's like 6'9", and he just starts smiling. And there's a video on Munster socials of Jean Plain, World Cup winner, played URC final, European semi-finals, and he looks like down the road, and all he can see is red jerseys everywhere, and he just starts laughing. And like, I was on a podcast with Danny O'Brien the other day, and I was like, European rugby needs this. Like, the only other result that Europe needed, probably more than like this one, I'm not being arrogant, but like a big result was probably Benetton beating Cast. They didn't manage it, unfortunately, but like weekends like these are the kind of shot in the arm that European rugby can be good. And like, even for all the complaining, the whinging, the giving out about like Ulster don't deserve to be in their 16th seed, at least they didn't concede fucking 60 points on the road in France against, like one of the best teams in Europe. So no, it was a good weekend. Pity Ulster didn't make it 4 from 4. Obviously Leinster won very easily, didn't see it. Connacht won okay easily. I didn't see that either. Munster won. To be honest, I don't remember half of it. I watched the game back. I don't remember half of it. I was too tense. As I said, I was dehydrated for a while. Not safe, not in France. And Ulster put up a great performance. I'm happy out. But lads, I will love you, Levy. Thank you very much, Hugh, for coming on and doing this, and to Adam and Aaron. And just remember, we all preach to the Lord himself, Stephen Archer. So, slán agus banach, lads.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Right, thank God that's over. Right. Aaron, right, let's get your thoughts on it. One thing that Caolan didn't mention that I thought was a travesty was he didn't mention wee Craig Casey. What a difference he's made since he's come back into the team.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought, like, I think I'm a bit different to Caolan. Like, I kind of went in going, probably not going to win this, La Rochelle. But what a performance! Like, having Craig back, Jack was just phenomenal, and it just clicked. Like, I remember that defensive structure where what's his name, Teddy Thomas nearly scored, and he just ran into traffic, and I thought it could be our day. I kind of went into it going, probably not going to be our day. It's La Rochelle away in La Rochelle. They've beaten Leinster, but they've had a bit of a dip. But will it happen? And it did, and I think that's a testament to everyone. And Craig coming back off that knee injury, like, I think he's a Lion starter, to be completely honest, So I put my hands up there and say I'm probably a bit biased, but like, what a game, And even then when Connor went off, I thought, we could struggle here, and Connor brought it the same, but just fantastic. Like 1 through 15, 1 through 23, just you can't even fault them, Yeah.
Yeah, Adam, any extra thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I do. I think Craig Casey's kind of like, he should be in the Lions squad talk, but of course the injuries halted that sort of like talk at the minute, and he would have probably been starting instead of Gibson Park in the Six Nations, given the form that he's in. But no, I think Munster deserve it. As I think Donegal O'Callaghan posted on his story, Europe need Munster. It's Munster is the epitome. I think we've seen away support close to Munster rugby before with some French teams, but it just looked mental. Like, Europe needs Munster rugby, and that's probably the best compliment I can give Munster, bar in 2012 when we beat them in the quarterfinal.
But it was baffling. Like, we're away from home, and you hear the fields of Athenry 60 minutes of the match, and you're thinking, are we at home? And we're not. Like
No.
yeah, it'll be a big game next weekend, but we'll think about
Yeah.
that next weekend. Yeah. Yeah.
A word on your man, Rog, in the La Rochelle hot seat. They are now winless in 9 games. Bad vibes, bad vibes him on the Atlantic coast at the moment.
Yeah, like it's surprising. I think that dip in form. I didn't really know. I don't have that much. I don't look at French rugby too much until we play them. And I was told he's winless in 8, and I thought, well, that's surprising. Like that doesn't happen with Rog. Even when it's bad, it ends up good again. Like he could turn a terrible league performance into a Champions Cup win. But yeah, I think this is huge now. Like they live and die by club rugby in France. And I have one of my neighbor literally downstairs. He's a La Rochelle fan and said, "This is worrying now." He's worried now. So yeah. But again, it's Raj. Raj can go on a 6-7 game win streak now, and we'd be go, "Oh, he's the man for the job." Like it's what he does. So yeah, I would be worried, but he's probably not worried. I think the commentary yesterday thought, oh, like they'd be worried about him, but I don't think he's worried. I think he'll go, oh, we have these players here. We've won it before. We'll do it again. And I think they will. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they've gone on a big spending spree. They've gotten
Yeah.
for next season. They've got Legaret coming. They've got Nini Ashvili coming, and now heavily linked to Tommaso Menoncello as well, coming in for next season. So yeah, I think I do, as someone who does follow French rugby, I do think there is a question of whether he will be the one who is coaching there next season, because it's not just the losses, it's the performances as well, and it's losses at home.
Yeah.
And just
Like,
generally he's getting on
Yeah.
the wrong side of people. He's rubbing people up the wrong way.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was that kind of lack of confidence. It felt like when they should have scored that try in the second half, was it even the second half where
Thomas.
Thomas should have just ran in.
He
You're
signed for
thinking, oh,
Toulouse, He's playing for Toulouse next season.
yeah, and
That's
like,
wild.
and
That's so mad.
it's mad. It's
Oh,
mad.
that's crazy.
Do you remember when he was running in tries for France 10 years ago? Like,
Yeah,
and
I think he scored against Scotland and then got dropped for the next game because he did something daft on the plane down to
Yeah.
England or something.
Oh, yeah. It
He
just,
tried to
yeah.
outrun us.
Okay, so any closing thoughts on this one? So we'll talk more about what's coming up next weekend towards the end of the show, but just where does this one rank then, Aaron, in terms of your memories? I know it's very recency biased, but
Fresh, yeah. It's
it's
up there. I came into the game thinking it's probably not going to be our day, and now Caolan had a very different experience being there. It's up there. It is up there. It's up there with that Leinster win in the Aviva for the URC win. It feels like that, and it feels like we've gotten one over Raj. I know I hope he's a great end of the season, but I didn't like him yesterday, and I like that. I'd say not many people will agree with me, but it is up there. Yeah, definitely.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Right, Adam, we're going to move to yourself now to talk about Ulster out in Bordeaux, which Caolan was also at, but he didn't fancy chatting about. I think it's fair to say that a lot of people, I think probably Bordeaux included, weren't expecting much from Ulster here. And I have to say, as a neutral watching on, that's some of the best rugby I've seen Ulster play all season.
Yeah, it's some of the best rugby we've played probably in the last 3 years. I went in expecting nothing. As I said, like this has been a very difficult year for us. It's been a lot of change, a lot of financial turmoil from the last predecessor that had us as CEO and our last coach that wasn't great with the players. But this today was different. Today felt like it was a turning point. It felt more like a win than a loss for us. It was just I could not fault a single player on that pitch. Mikey Laurie shown is getting back to his glittering best. Like he's getting back to his glittering best. And James Hume, who was even he was sick last week with quite a bad flu, he was showing a bit of rust, but he was also very good as well. But there's actually three. Actually, no, there's so many players I can name. James McNabry,
Yeah.
unbelievable. He's a great find. Zach Ward, an unbelievable signing we've made this season. He just never backs down. It's like having an extra back row on the pitch. And speaking of an extra back row, Stuart McCluskey, it's one of his best games for Ulster. Like you would not think we were playing second, like the second team in the top 14,
He's been
full of these
unbelievable since
French
he came back from
internationals.
injury. He's been a monster.
He's just been honestly, he's been unleashed. Um, I can say Jack Murphy, our 21-year-old fly half, thrown in at the deep end this season. He's starting to level out. He's starting to be a nice wee fly half for us. And credit goes to the departing John Cooney, who's gonna, I'm assuming, smash up whatever league he's gonna end up in France next year.
He's signed for Brive, I think.
It's Brive, yeah. He's signed up for Brive, but they're in the Pro Division 2, aren't they? So I'm not exactly sure who's gonna get promoted and stuff, but
It's very. I won't bore everybody with Pro Day chat. It's very open. Probably Grenoble and then maybe
right.
Provence.
Yeah, well, he's going to tear it up wherever he goes. He's a lovely man. But I thought as well, somebody that I've always sort of questioned on these podcasts, Nathan Doak, when he came on, livened up the pitch very much. The way we want him to play, well, the way in my head I want him to play, he played. And I feel like that added layer of pressure from this season's almost made him better. But yeah, as I said,
I thought his kicking was excellent.
oh yeah, his kicking was excellent, and I think it's really good. It's really good to see Nathan Doak thriving because I think as Ireland the national team goes in the four provinces, we want four very strong scrum halves that we need to pick and choose from. And Nathan Doak on his day, we know his potential. He hasn't really shown it this season. I think it's been quite a topsy-turvy season for him, but I thought bar probably the knock on, which wasn't quite his fault towards the end. He did no wrong.
Well,
I just thought,
when he's run under the stick with 2 minutes to go, how's the heart rate?
oh, honestly, it was it was see when the TMO was called when Jacob Stockdale made that break. I was just like, oh, another man that I haven't. Jacob Stockdale's back to his glittering best as well. I think that's one of the best. Like, I think we're starting to hit the season in a season where we were touching the bottom at one point, and now we're like sixth in the URC. I think we're finally hitting a year where we're getting all of our best players back right on time. We played this Bordeaux game, give and take. I don't think we had an injury. Am I wrong? There might have been somebody who came off, but we're hitting it at the right time. And as an Ulster fan who kind of lost his optimism in the middle of the season, it's kind of shot back up again because why not? We went to France. We weren't expecting anything. We had two disallowed tries. If those tries were given, we would have won it. We would have won it, and that's just mad to me. I think it's a testament to the lads and Zach Ward, our savior, in something, and Mike Laurie as well. Like that whole back three just worked immense. And Stuart Moore has been our unsung hero. I feel like he's just been a quality utility back. But yeah, I can take so many positives from it. I think Bordeaux played brilliantly as well, but I think we caught them out so many times, and they did look flat in times.
They
Pedo,
did. I think
like,
exactly. I think they thought that they were going to walk you over, and when they went
Yeah.
21-0 up, I think they were like,
yeah,
"Oh, this is it," and then they kind of just started chucking it around. It just became like park rugby, and UBB have got them in them. Like in my opinion, I don't see UBB winning anything, despite how good they are, because they just have a soft underbelly, unfortunately, and things go wrong for them, and they just take their eye off the ball. And when you've got Damien Penaud, who rugby is something to Damien Penaud, rugby is something that he does during his cigarette break. Like that's how he works. So anything can happen with him on the pitch, both good and bad. By the way, 11 tries in a single Champions Cup campaign for Damien Penaud
wild.
is
It's wild.
pretty mad. But Aaron, what have you made of Ulster's season so far? Roller coaster season. Is it a simple
Yeah.
case of they got their injuries back and it's all go again?
No, like yes to a degree, but it's not just that. I think if that Ulster team 3 months ago goes down 21-0, I think that's game over. I think like pre-Christmas, that match is dead and buried and finished, and we go, oh, what time is the next match? But there was a bit of a fight there. Now I missed the end of it, but there was a fight there, and that was nice to see from Ulster. I worry come the end of URC as a Munster fan, I do not want to play you guys again, because the end of the URC season last season, that was stressful. That game, that final match was horrible. That was horrible. But it's good to have a strong Ulster. And I think this was coming. Now, I know the last year hasn't been great, but this is that team is now built into something that can challenge, and which is what we need. URC based and European based. Yeah.
Well, as a Scarlets fan, I think I can take some credit, because us bottling it in the last minute against you back in February, I think, was the catalyst for everything that has happened good so far.
Yeah, very much so. I think we need those type of wins, and if we would have won today, honestly, it would have been up there with one of my favorite Ulster memories. I think just the fight. I think what a lot of people know, if you don't really know much about Ulster rugby, we lost. We sacked a coach in the middle of last season. We sacked our defensive coach this season. We've got Black Willie Falloon. We've got Johnny Sexton's brother turning the attack next season. We've got no money, but we've signed Cock. It's just been one of those. It's one of those seasons where I think Richie Murphy described it at the very start. It's going to be a roller coaster. Whether or not it's going to be a fun roller coaster, I don't know. But I tell you what, if it's a turning point for Ulster rugby, I'm excited to see what Richie and his those lads can do, because I tell you what, the depth that we're building, even with, I think, our replacement front row, we had Callum Reid, Tom Stewart, and Scott Wilson come on, and I was just like, that's the future of Ulster rugby in the front row. Callum Reid came on, and he was bouncing, boys. He just came on, and do you know what? It's like seeing a loose head that's born in Ulster, and kind of like Angie Warwick in that sense, but seeing a lad that with so much potential, and we needed that, especially after the whole Kitsoff debacle last year. We needed that, and also Scotty Wilson, who, as we all know, if you've seen an Ulster game, he's just a live wire. He's the tight head prop that could play fly half, and you'd be like, sound grand, that would be perfect. But yeah, no, I can't fault the lads. I put on Blue Sky this morning because I got hacked off my Twitter, and I can't log back into it. So I put on my Blue Sky this morning. We need to go out and play rugby. And those first 15 minutes we went 21-0 down, it's almost took pressure off us to get back into the game. So, it's what we want. It's what as an Ulster fan we want. We want a bit of fight. We want a bit of oomph, a bit of pride back in the shirt. I wasn't saying there wasn't any pride back in the shirt, but we, as Aaron said a couple of months ago, 19-0 down, we would have lost it 60 points. And actually we did at the home end of the season when we played Bordeaux at home. We lost by 60 points. And fast forward to now, and it was a pretty similar Bordeaux team that we played in France today. It was like night and day, and that's all I could have asked for today.
Yeah. Brilliant. We're going to move on to some of the other provinces now, but before we do, please remember, if you are listening on audio formats, give us a 5-star rating and share a link with a mate. It really helps the show grow. And if you're on YouTube, I can say that Caolan's YouTube channel is one of the most undersubscribed channels in rugby. For the consistency and quality of content that he puts out, is well worth your subscribe. If you've listened this far, you clearly enjoy it. And if this goes viral, he'll have to get me back and maybe pay me money. So that would be good as well, wouldn't it?
You'll be in France with him, yeah.
I know, exactly. Maybe I'll get the glitzy trip to La Rochelle next year. Anyway, so Aaron, let's talk about Connacht then. So down in the Challenge Cup with their third game of the season against Cardiff and their third victory. What's there to say about this one? I'll be honest, I didn't catch much of it.
I didn't catch much of it either. I feel bad as I'm not the Connacht man on the pod, but look, it's a win they needed. I think it's just it's 3 times in a row against Cardiff, and I was looking at the URC log there, and you go, oh, they're in 13th, but they're 3 points off of us in 6th, so it's not looking as bad as it could be, So I remember Connacht's run last season in the Challenge Cup, and I'm thinking they could do it, and like think that squad there can do something, get to a semi-final, get to a final. And I would hope that they do it. There's no sharks in there to go, oh, let's win it all with our South African squad, So yeah, they should be proud of themselves. I'm not sure who they play next weekend, but yeah, it's Connacht are always that one province that are overlooked and just forgotten about, but they're probably everyone's second team. I don't like Leinster. I don't think Adam likes Leinster. I don't think Adam likes Munster. So we all want Connacht to do well, and it's good to see Connacht doing well. So that's the main thing, and I want them to succeed. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
so go on, Adam.
Oh, sorry to add on to Aaron. There's been a conspiracy. Well, it's not really a conspiracy. My mom's from Dublin, so they all call me a secret dub on this podcast. But I must say that Leinster are my least favorite province. No offense, guys.
You all support the
Munster-
Wolfhounds. That's all that matters.
Oh yeah, I love the Wolfhounds. Yeah, I love the Wolfhounds. Wolfhounds delight. I've got Wolfhounds tattoo.
Right. So just in the name of doing Connacht at least some service. Sorry, Connacht fans. So the try scorers were Devine, Janssen, Tracy, Bolton, and Boyle. Hanrahan with 3 conversions, Yoni with 2. Do we have a view on who Connacht's best 10 is as 3 outsiders between Hanrahan and Ioane?
Ioane is not I don't think he's really liked by he just hasn't got used to the Galway wind. I think that's the general consensus that I see from Connacht fans. And when I've seen him play, I sort of expect this player that is sort of glitz and glamour. But he needs time to settle, and I think he signed a Euro contract as well. He needs time to settle, and he will show his worth soon. But Hanrahan's back off to Munster, so I think it shows how much Iwani is sort of favored there. But they're playing Racing next week, so I've just seen it there. I don't know if anyone saw my face there. I was like, whoa. But it's at Galway.
I already knew and didn't say.
It's in Galway, so it's whether or not Owen Farrell is used to the Galway wind.
Has Owen Farrell ever played in Galway before?
Oh, that's such a good question. I need to look that up now.
Caolan would know. I know Caolan would be like, yeah.
Yeah, because he's from Galway, though, is he not? So
Limerick and Galway more the same thing, So
yeah, exactly. So if I just speaking on it from a Welsh point of view, I'm not a Cardiff fan. I'm a Scarlets fan, but just speaking on it from that point of view, the Cardiff and Scarlets are kind of similar in that we've both had the same problems all season. Not the same problems as each other, but just the whole season we've had the one thing or the two things where it's like need to fix that. And Cardiff, it's been some poor one-on-one defense, and it's been goal kicking. And I'm looking at the goal kicking now. Sheedy got a penalty, but they've scored 3 tries, got 1 conversion. And I know it's finished 35-20, but from my understanding is that Cardiff were well in the game at one point. And if they'd have kicked some goals, then maybe they might have taken the lead. So yeah, again, both with Scarlets and Cardiff, we've both got players. Now, I'm not going to name them, but both teams have got players where the fans are starting to turn on them a little bit and say, you're kind of not doing the job at the moment.
Yeah, I think with the thing with Connacht is that from my experiences with Connacht is they've always had a solid 10 somewhere. And I think with Carty slowing down, they threw Awoni in with so much, not it was a bit of pressure because he was in New Zealand, he was a Kiwi coming in, and they compared them to the Kiwis that they've had before, which is a stellar lineup for Connacht. Your Bundyakis, Deb Butlers, people like that. You have to think that he has came in. There's a bit of pressure on him. He's young. He just needs to sort of settle with it. And as I said, once he settled with it, once he gets a bit more kicking practice with Jack Carty, who's the master of that Atlantic wind, they'll be settled. They'll be pretty much settled in that sense. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm not sure so much on the Welsh front in terms of the Scarlets issues, but I think when you back a 10, I think that's almost what Ulster are having at the minute as well with Aidan Morgan and Jack Murphy. We had this New Zealander come in, a lot of pressure on him. He's a Kiwi, former Hurricane. You'd think he's class. A bit shoddy, a bit here and there. But then we have Jack Murphy come in. They just need somebody to come in and, you know, find someone or develop what they have. I think that's what Connacht do perfectly, really. They're really good at making players suited to Galway's weather system, which I don't know if you have visited Galway or have been to
I
the
have loved
sports.
it.
Yeah, but if you've been to the sports ground, I went there once and it was sunny the whole day, and then at the last minute, thunderous like downpour lasted 5 minutes, and then it was fine again. No player can get used to that if you're from the other side of the world. Do you know what I mean? No player could. But the likes of Bundyaki and Mike Hansen have proved that give them a season, they will take it. And next season, I reckon Josh O'Moni will be class.
I love it in the URC when someone like the Lions comes up to Edinburgh in December, January,
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
there on the pitch, and you can see them looking like, what has gone
Yeah.
wrong in my life for this for this to be? And that's nothing against Edinburgh or Glasgow, but the weather is different to what it is
Oh,
like
yeah.
in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
You know?
Very much so. Especially at that time of the year as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're going from summer to
Yeah.
Glasgow winter. Oh.
Yeah, Ryan Wilson once told a story, and you weren't liking me saying this on an Irish pod, but Ryan Wilson told a story once about Glasgow about how they were playing against a team that it got into overtime in the first half, so beyond the 40 minutes, and the opposition was teeing up a kick to goal, a penalty kick, and Ryan Wilson goes up to the referee and says, "We will give them the 3 points if you let us go inside." Because it was absolutely Baltic apparently. So yeah, and on those artificial pitches as well, whatever the weather's doing, the pitch is doing as well.
Yeah.
Just keeps it interesting. Okay, let's talk about Leinster then. So Aaron, I'll bring yourself in on the. Oh no, I asked you about Connacht. Adam, I'll bring you in on this, being part of the Wolfhounds family. So therefore, you're the Leinster person.
On the girls.
So just the 62-0 point victory for this. Prendergast, McCarthy, Osborne, Van der Fleer, Ringrose, Sheehan, Rossburn? Which Burn was it?
Yeah,
Rossburn.
yeah.
2 for James Lowe and a penalty try. No Geordie Barrett on the scoreline. This clearly was a massive failure. Or Argay Snowman. So, look, I think everybody thought this would be a routine for Leinster. Did anybody think it was going to be that routine?
I thought it was going to be that routine, honestly, because I thought when I saw, no offense, but I think Lee Halfpenny's a legend. When I saw Lee Halfpenny play fullback, I was sort of expecting what was going to happen, and they've been caught out wide so many times. I think most of their tries came from out wide positions. Even Ross Burns' try came out from out wide position, and I don't think he's that quick to have an out wide position try. Um, I think Leinster this year, so I think that the Ireland squad is Leinster, but with the players that they don't have. So RG Snyman, Tag Byrne, and the centre Bundyaki, Geordie Barrett. It's just Leinster are so routine, and they're just so like I just could not. Well, I could believe it. I saw it was in Croke Park. They didn't sell it out because the Aviva had some concert on or something like that. It was just so routine from them. And I saw the score and I was just like 62-0. Watched the highlights, went fair enough. Harlequins defense just wasn't there. I think also, in my opinion, Caolan, he would not like me saying this. Talk about Lions. Marcus Smith was shit. He was awful. I think it's also played him out of Lions contention, in my opinion.
Without getting totally derailing the podcast and starting talking about that, I thought during the Six Nations he played himself out of Lions contention. And I also have a really hot take, which is that if Marcus Smith was Irish, I don't think he would play for Ireland because he doesn't suit it. I don't know your thoughts on that, Aaron.
No, I agree. Yeah, but again, who played themselves into contention for the 10 jersey for the Lions squad? Do you know? Just on that, I don't think Finn Russell played himself in. But we won't get there.
I think it almost played Prendergast and Crawley this weekend into that. It's going to be Prendergast and Crawley, and we're going to have Jack Murphy as 10 for Ireland this summer. I got that in, but I think that when we talk about just the Harlequins in general, you would have thought they would have put up a bit more of a fight, but when I was watching it, it just seemed so lackluster, and they just thought in the back of their heads, ah shit, Furlong's coming on the bench off the bench at some point, and also Jordy Barrett's coming off the bench at some point, and you'd think to yourself, yeah, if I was a Harlequins player, I'd also think the same thing, but I would have a bit of oomph about me. But as I said, like has Lee Halfpenny passed it? Yes. Is he a Premiership worthy player? I don't think so. I think he's more of a Japan-based player if he were to go to a team that would speed up. I'm sorry, Hugh. I think that's the truth.
Just
And I
Lee
think
Halfpenny's my favorite player of all time. Just so
no,
you know.
oh no. Honestly, that 2013 Lions. We always have the 2013 Lions tour.
There
But
was one try, I think it was Osborne's try, where Lee Halfpenny was the only Harlequins player to lay a finger on a Leinster player
Yeah.
in the whole
it,
break.
but it just shows how I think I saw something like the Premiership teams conceded X amount of tries this week. And you think like, oh, that we all have URC bias, but I genuinely think that the URC is the second best. Well, up there with one of the best leagues with the top 14. I think that showed that this weekend.
Yeah.
Munster beating La Rochelle, us coming toe to toe with the second place team in the top 14,
Yeah.
and then you have like Leinster come against the pedigree. I know that the Quins aren't having a great season, this year, but Leinster coming toe to toe with Harlequins and their pedigree, you would think they would have a bit more of an oomph to them, but they didn't. And it shows, like, you even have Benetton v Castra that we're not probably going to talk about, but Benetton put up a fight. You never see that. Glasgow won against Leicester
Yeah, it's so
Tigers.
wild.
Glasgow,
Yeah,
for me, Glasgow's win over Tigers was almost as one-sided as this. The scoreline for that game
but
flatters Tigers
I,
massively.
it shows the lack of because I watched a couple of weeks ago Bath v Gloucester, and defense is just out the window in the Premiership. I'm not sure. Well, I took that as a snapshot because it was a high scoring game. It was one of the games that I got to catch, but the defense is just out the window. Like it's so mad to me how Glasgow, given their European pedigree, and I know I'm supposed to be talking about Leinster, and I'm getting on to Glasgow, and Glasgow, I'm not a big fan of either, but it takes Glasgow thrashing Leicester to realize that the URC is up there. Like it's definitely up there. And Ulster going toe to toe with Bordeaux, Munster beating La Rochelle, and I think we're gonna go on probably predictions for like who wins it, but I can't see somebody bar Leinster winning it this year. I think there's something different about this year. I think Jody Barrett is a
Yeah.
massive wild card to play with that 6 months contract, and to be like, oh, you're gonna have the 23 jersey and you're gonna like it. It really pisses me off because fine rightly, if he was in any other province, we'd be playing him in
Yeah,
every
he'd be
position.
fucking
We would
yeah.
have him in fucking loosehead if we had him. Like
And
he'd
he'd
be
do well,
playing.
like
Yeah,
I,
and
I
also he'd be
genuinely think
taking the
Jordy Barrett
kicks.
could do a job in second row. I genuinely think like
Yeah.
He's the height for it as well. He's massive, and I just think like Leinster, they're pulling out all the stops. Fair play to them. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. It was April Fool's Day this week. Take that with a pinch of salt. Oh.
yeah. What about you, Aaron? Did we learn anything about Leinster in this game?
No, purely because it's April and this is when Leinster should be winning. It's the questions come around Leinster when it's semi-final, final time, and Toulouse come knocking, or Glasgow come knocking, or one of the South African teams come knocking at the end of the URC and go, okay, win it now. That's when the question, like, Leinster should be cleaning this game. 62-0, yeah, okay. I think that's more of a question on how well the Premiership is, but this is what Leinster should be doing. Like, you
Yeah.
have several how many World Cups do they have with Steinman and Barrett, and then it's just the Irish team. Like Adam said, it's practically the Irish team. So you should be winning, and you can send the kids to South Africa on a URC tour for 2 weeks and send Barrett with them, and it just
Yeah.
works.
I,
Uh,
I,
it's
the
baffling.
We used to have the Reese Ruddock All-Stars with Leinster. Now it's the Max Stegan and Jordy Barrett
Yeah,
boys.
yeah.
Ah,
Like,
how's that
and
fair?
and all the Irish lads get a rest. Where, like, for us, we're sending our best team to South Africa because we need the wins. Where Leinster are one loss in the URC, and they'll probably get top seed, and they don't need to think about it, you know. And
Right. If you were to compare the Irish system at the minute, I will pinpoint two players, Joe McCarthy and Ian Henderson.
yeah,
Ian Henderson only rolls out for Ireland. I've only seen him play a handful of times for Ulster in the past couple of years, but every single time he's fit for Ireland, and then he
yeah,
gets injured playing a dopey game against a zebra. But this was back when zebra were average and bad. Now they're good, but Joe McCarthy can play when he wants, where he wants, and he will play well,
yeah,
and he never gets injured. The Leinster system and the Irish system is so broken in that sense because Rob Herring as well, he's a player that's only had about 3 games for us this season, but he played for Ireland at some point this season anyway. It, Leinster just have a conveyor belt, and it's sickening, and it's just I want it to stop at some point.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the draw now because the quarterfinals have been announced, and the draw is a little bit skewy. So first off, the first quarterfinal is Leinster hosting Glasgow, which is a bit too big of a game to be a quarterfinal, really, for me.
yeah,
It's a bit. I don't like it when you get kind of same league matchups early on in
Yeah,
competitions.
yeah,
That's a bit of a buzzkill for me. 8 o'clock on a Friday night, also, not great. Look, I'm a I'm a huge admirer of Glasgow and what Frankie Smith has done there. I think they're a fantastic team, but you got the sense after they were getting when you watch the Glasgow players getting interviewed after they slapped up Leicester of going, what do you think about going to Leinster next week? And they're like, oh, we'll go there, we'll play the game. 80 minutes of rugby shall be had. Like Aaron, you can't see anything but a Leinster win. Who do you want to win
yeah.
this game?
Neither of them.
yeah.
Both lose, and then
The
Ulster take that
referee.
spot. Yeah,
Come
literally.
on.
None like I've said this on Caolan's podcast before. I hate Glasgow. Like I hate I shouldn't say I hate someone, but I hate Glasgow. I like but yeah, I don't like it's the Leinster win, right? If it's not a Leinster win, then you go, what's happened? Who's gotten injured? Well, what red card happened? It's a and it shouldn't be happening. Like Glasgow are probably the third strongest team in the URC. Like they should be up there. They should be getting to semifinals. They should be playing Bordeaux most likely. They should like, but
That'll be a good game. I'd watch that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's Leinster in the Aviva with the Irish team and Jordy Barrett.
And Archie
It's
Snyman.
and Archie Simon. Yeah, exactly.
And Robert
Sorry, I
Slimani.
forgot about him.
And Roman
Yes,
Slimani. Yeah. To
yeah,
be fair,
I forgot about him.
if you were to tell me at the start of the season that Slimani would be one of Leinster's best players, I would have looked at you and went, first of all, why have they signed a French player? And second of all, what?
Yeah.
So we're all picking Leinster for that one. The next quarterfinal is Bordeaux versus Munster. Look, Bordeaux at home, the top seeds, they're always going to be the favourites, Aaron. But
Yeah, I
what
mean,
are you just hoping for just the romance, just
it's the
Hollywood it
Joey
up over here?
Carberry derby now, isn't it? Right. So
Boo.
yeah, like it's Munster in Europe, so who knows? And that's very biased of me saying, but and UBB don't like. I watched that top 14 final last season, and they just collapsed. And I don't see them winning anything like you said earlier, Hugh. Like, but again, who knows? It's UBB at
I've just
home.
noticed as well that game kicks off at 4, and the next game kicks off at
Yeah, no.
5:30, so they're going to overlap.
Yeah.
Three.
But
It says three for me here. It could be
three, yeah,
four.
three UK time, yeah, the 3 UK and Ireland time, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. This is on the
Yeah.
official Investec Champions Cup website, Twitter
Yeah.
account, which I wouldn't put it past them being wrong. But anyway,
Yeah.
carry on. Talk about Munster.
Biasly, Munster win by probably 1 or 2. Speaking with the heads,
Uh,
it's going to be a tight game and probably Bordeaux squeak it.
Yeah, for me, Munster aren't going to win anything until they sort their line out.
Yeah,
It's it's it makes me sick watching
yeah,
Munster's line out. I'm
yeah,
watching it going. Did you see they did that? They copied that South African double lift thing
yeah,
and completely messed it up.
yeah.
I'm like, just catch the ball,
Just
lads.
give it to Peter, give it to Tig at the front. Like I play Sunday League rugby. We give it to the front lifter and we get up fast, and that works. Just make it simple, and it will work. And if they figure something out, you go to the second man, and you send a dummy in there. Stop overcomplicating it. We're not Ebenet about than RG Snyman and John Klein in the line out. Just make it easy, and it will work. Yeah, but I agree. The line out is I've kind of stopped watching Munster the last 2 months, and I'm like, okay, this was the game to watch. But again, like the lineout was struggling pre-Christmas, and it's still struggling now. You know? Yeah,
The stats are horrendous for it, I can tell you.
yeah,
One with no Irish, or two more with no Irish interest. You've got Saints hosting Cast, which is a repeat of a pool game.
yeah,
Saints.
It's
Go on, Adam.
it's such a I hate the new system. It
It's
shows it's so like the fact that we had Bordeaux Ulster in the round 16, and I'm gonna be honest with you. If you were to tell me that Northampton Saints versus Cast was a quarterfinal of a European Cup,
yeah,
and one of those like, well, Northampton, like they're quite good, but it's the fact they're against Cast, and it's just it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. It's not the best of European rugby, is it? It's
Hmm.
not the
yeah,
best. Like I would rather Glasgow play Cast or
yeah,
Northampton.
Cast
Do you know
are
what I
on a
mean?
bit of a European adventure at the moment. Obviously, they beat Sarries away. They had a great game against Benetton. Northampton, like you say, are not doing great in the Premiership at
Yeah,
all, but they seem to
yeah.
be pulling it together for Europe. I do think that Saints probably, I think their position in the Premiership isn't reflective of their quality. If you just
No,
look
yeah.
at the fact how they're slowly cannibalizing the entire England team,
yeah,
Mhm.
they're becoming the Leinster of England. But yeah, I think a Saints win, and because of the draw. Um, I think the winner of Northampton versus Cass plays the winner of Leinster Glasgow. So only one French team can get to the final. And like the other quarter final is Toulon versus Toulouse. So
Toulouse, yeah.
there's a fair chance that these two teams could play each other 4 times this season.
It's just bonkers. And I think when you see Toulon beat Toulouse there also as a quarterfinal,
And the
it's
fact that
almost
Toulon are at home because they're a higher seed somehow.
yeah.
yeah, that's wild. Like the whole seeding system was so
Just
confusing
doesn't make
because
sense.
it doesn't because some Ulster fans I saw online were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have Munster at home," and I was like, "How does that work?" I don't think it was right, but like I was like, "Why do we think that we're gonna have Munster at home if we beat Bordeaux? We're not gonna go into that one seed all of a sudden." I just think do you know what? Looking at it, I haven't given my take on the Munster Bordeaux game. I think Munster can edge that. I think Ulster made Bordeaux look very beatable.
Yeah,
Um, very beatable. And I think if we were to have, so are you saying Northampton are playing Toulon v
cast.
Toulouse? Or no, no,
No,
as
Sorry.
Northampton play winner Leinster Glasgow. So it could
so
be a
winner
repeat of
Leicester,
last year's semi.
right? And then we could have like oh no, do you know what? I would love a Munster v Toulouse semi-final
Not
repeat.
again.
I
Not
would love
again.
that. I would absolutely love that. Like, bring it to penalties again.
Oh, I was in the
Bring it
stadium
to.
for that. I've PTSD. I've never been more stressed for a game of rugby, and no, I can't do that
I wouldn't
again.
put it past Toulon, you know. Toulouse looked iffy today.
But
And
Toulon also looked iffy though. Like Saracens
Mhm.
put out their B team like yesterday, and they were just wiping the floor with them at some point, and then they just came back.
Yeah,
Like it was really like it's such a weird lineup of teams. Like they all deserve to be there, but you can't bar Leinster. You can't say that there's a clear-cut winner. I would say Toulouse, but do you know what I mean?
Toulon
Like,
Toulon don't lose at home. Toulon are
yeah.
good.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
And Toulon are hosting Toulouse at Stade Velodrome in Marseille in 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
this is another, and to get, like I said, they could play each other in Top 14's semi-final or final very easily.
I
Yeah.
I also think the European setup and the fact that we're playing a round 16 and the next week being the
Yeah,
quarterfinal is so bad as well, because it takes away that aspect of look at how many Munster fans were away to La Rochelle.
yeah,
No fan is going to try and, well, you would have the hardest core or the more well-off fans going, oh, I can easily go to Bordeaux. Or if you're like Caolan, you're going to try and fit in the cupboard and hope that the cleaners don't see you. Um, but like, but yeah, it's just one of those. It's one of those that I think it takes away the magic of European rugby. The
yeah,
fact that you can go, it's next month. I can save up for it and see
yeah,
if I can get a good way around getting it. I think the beauty of the European Cup, when I first followed Ulster, for example, I went to the quarterfinal in Limerick, Aviva Stadium semi-final. It was like 3 weeks later, and then the
yeah,
final in London, which was like a month or two later. I think the beauty of the European Cup was always about that you can go and show your colors in another place where you're
yeah,
not normally are, even in the league. And I think with the round 16 happening, and to be fair, to the benefit of Leinster, Glasgow, and Toulon, Toulouse, I think you would have a lot of away fans there anyway, because it's quite easy probably to get to Glasgow from Glasgow to Dublin. But it's a question of how many Glasgow fans actually exist. But Toulon,
not many.
Toulouse, yeah, exactly. But like, it's one of those like the beauty of European rugby is also the away fans, and I
Yeah,
think the away fans is front and center. The best thing about having a European away trip, there's nothing like it at all, and there's nothing like getting an away win. Or even if you lost, you go, I went to a pretty cool place. Like I went to
and that was
Yeah.
good
Welford.
crack. Yeah,
Yeah, and it was good crack. I went to Welford Road once. We got thrashed, and I went, I've still been to Welford Road.
yeah.
It's the
It's an
beauty of
absolute
European
shed if
rugby.
anybody hasn't been. It's not worth going.
I thought it was all right. Like you know, I
I've got a
think
question for you. What song do Leicester Tigers play as the players walk out on the pitch?
oh I don't know. It's been about 10 years. What is it?
Think about it. Tigers, what song do they play?
I have the tiger.
No, Smoke on the Water.
Oh, for goodness sake.
So yeah, anyway, let's talk about the Challenge Cup. We need the Challenge Cup music. This is just, I think, an old Soviet tractor failing to start. Um, Edinburgh host the Bulls. Any strong feelings on that one?
In Edinburgh.
Um,
In Edinburgh,
Edinburgh win.
Yeah,
probably, I think so.
yeah,
It's one of those sad things where, as I said, it's happening within a week, and a South African team or any other team traveling to South Africa, it's
yeah.
just too difficult. It's too difficult.
I wonder what booking hotels must be a nightmare for this kind of thing. But Bulls are objectively a better team than Edinburgh. And Jake White put out after they beat Bayonne, which is a hell of a result, by the way. Bayonne haven't lost at home all season. But Jake White said afterwards that it was a Bulls B team. It was not. And if it
No,
was,
no.
Bayonne's team was like a Z team. Like it was, Bayonne wanted to lose. So yeah, there's that. So I think probably Edinburgh as well, although I think the Bulls are actually
Yeah.
better. Then you got Ospreys hosting Lyon. If Lyon were at home, I'd say they would batter the Ospreys, but because Ospreys are at home, I think that makes it interesting.
Yeah, the Welsh tax helps, I think. Traveling to Wales isn't easy. Even in the URC, traveling to Wales isn't easy. So I think mm, probably it's a tight one, maybe a Leon slight win, but Ospreys in Europe again. It's
Yeah.
Ospreys, yeah.
Hmm.
I'd love it if Ospreys won it because just pure. I think if the Ospreys win it, it would prove my fact of like URC being such a competitive league, and I think any type of if you are Irish or Scottish and you're watching this game, you want Ospreys to win. You'd be like, like it's one of those like you want to see the ones in your league win, and
Hmm.
it just makes our league better.
Yeah.
Then next game we've got Connacht versus Racing 92. Racing brought
It's such
back
a
all
good
their
game.
big guns. So Racing's last game was an away trip to Perpignan, and both teams went full noise. Now Racing have been having a terrible season. They've sacked their coach, and they've had all sorts of issues with players and things. So I think they're looking to this Challenge Cup to rescue their season. So if
Eczema
they can stand
basket.
there with a bit of tin above their head and going, look, see, we're all right, really. like Toulon did a couple of years ago, or the Sharks have done as well in the past. So I think Racing are going to target this. So it's a big challenge for Connacht.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that Racing owner, when Sia left and all his comments, they want to win. Like they want trophies. End of discussion. They don't see it. Oh, we win, we get some profit. It's we win rugby. And I agree with you, Hugh. They're gonna stack the chips here.
I, I, I like it's one of those that if Racing go through, I see them winning it. If Connacht go through, I see them winning it. It's one of those that I would have loved to seen in a semi-final and more. It's at stake, but as we all say, like I think Racing will show what Racing do and what Racing we all know, which they haven't really shown this season. Um, because they will, as we all say, we know the quality that Racing have. Not to belittle what Connacht have, they do have a big quality there as well. It's just, do you know what? I want it to be a wet, windy day in Connacht.
Yeah, a
I want
shite
it to
day in
be
Connacht.
wet. Yeah, and do you know what? A 3-point win for Connacht if that happens. But if it's a sunny day, I would say about a 10-point win, 10 to 15 for Racing.
I can see that. I can see that. And then the final one was a game that we kind of talked about before, is Bath host Gloucester in the final quarterfinal. Now, I got a message off someone the other day and they said to me, Bath are on for the treble, you know. And I was like, what? Like English Premiership, Challenge Cup, and Premiership Cup. And I was like, that's the shittest thing I've ever heard in my life. So, but Bath are probably the strongest team still in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I say, isn't the Premiership Cup the one that you win before you go bust?
Gloucester won it last year.
Oh well, yeah, no, Gloucester won it, but then I remember every time I've watched it, it's been like London Irish or Worcester, and I'm like, oh, like there mustn't be any sort of incentive to win that. Like you don't want to win that as a treble, like a treble thing. But I think I'm gonna offer a hot take here. I reckon Bath would rather win a Premiership than a Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
think
agree.
I think Glasgow. I think no Glasgow. Gloucester could sneak it. I think watching it the other week, I saw the class of both sides, and I think the way that Gloucester are playing this season, I think they've surprised everyone. I think they're like fourth in the Premiership. I must add, they are my Premiership team. I've got family. I've got quite a lot of family in that sort of way of England, and I think they've surprised me in the way they've played. I think what is his name's left me, Thomas Williams, the scrum half. He's playing absolutely unbelievable, and you need him to motor. It's just whether or not that I'm not exactly sure, Hugh, of the Premiership time frame, but are they playing a game the week after the way that we are playing in the URC?
I would
Most
expect so.
likely, yeah.
Yeah, so if we were to look at that and to think Bath are what first, actually they're pretty
They're a
healthily
lot
first.
better than everybody else in the Premiership, though.
Yeah,
And
but
they went full noise against whoever they beat the other day. They went Poe. Oh, Poe put out like the electrician's mate's son. But but Bath went full noise.
oh, and they're away to Exeter the week after. But I really want to say it, a Gloucester win, but it's the fact that Bath are away to Exeter the week after, then they're at home to Newcastle, and their next big game after that is Bristol. You have to think Bath might put all the chips in one basket. However,
Because they can. Yeah.
because they can, like
Yeah.
I think one of their strengths is just the way that Finn Russell can unlock both their forwards and their backs. And the fact that I saw their backline in the Gloucester game a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's my lack of knowledge of the Premiership, but I could only really name you Finn Russell in their backline and Redpath. And I was just like, it's a pretty like lackluster backline. But the way that Finn Russell kind of unlock a backline with a pack that's as good as it is, I think Quinn Russell, no, Quinn Rue even, sorry. I've got both their names mixed up there. But Quinn, I think like the likes of like having a big lock in Quinn Rue really helps them. But not to belittle Gloucester, I think they could have a sniff at that.
Yeah.
potentially. Go on,
I
Aaron.
worry.
Karen.
I worry with it being in the Rec though. I think the
Yeah.
Rec it suits Bath obviously to play at home, but all I know of Gloucester is that final of the Challenge Cup last year, and they were dreadful. Like,
Mm.
but yeah, like Bath are probably, and it's Bath in Europe. Like Bath are the home of, like I remember going through Bath to go to Exeter to watch Munster play last year, and everyone was like, "We should go to Bath," like just to watch a European game. And I went, like Bath is they're like they love this, So I think it's similar to the Leinster Glasgow
It's a
game. I
nice
think it's a Bath,
place
but
as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Would you argue like Bath is like what Munster rugby would be to English rugby?
Well, I don't know if that's a question to me or Aaron. I wouldn't know how to compare, to
yeah,
be honest.
Yeah, but it's almost like you'd almost say like you always expect Bath to be in the Champions
I would
Cup.
say the
So when you see them
Bath
in
are
the
more
Challenge
like
Cup, you're a
I would
bit,
say the Bath are more like Ulster. Ulster have won something
oh
more
right,
recently than Bath.
oh right, okay, never mind. What in 2005?
Ulster, Bath haven't won anything since the 90s.
Oh right. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So they are more like
So
us.
they're
Never
almost the
mind.
Cardiff. Bath are the Cardiff of England.
I
Even
didn't.
Cardiff
I
have won
didn't.
something in the
yeah.
last
I,
15
yeah.
years.
I was just like, whoa. But does like, if Bath had the option of an Irish Shield, would they win it?
I'm worried I'm becoming a reluctant Gloucester fan because I think their women's team is by far the best. Well, it clearly is by far the best in England because it's won 3 titles in a row, but they play proper rugby and maybe not everyone else in that league plays proper rugby. And I've been to Gloucester a few times. I've enjoyed it every time I've been. They're basically a fifth Welsh region at this point. And yeah, so I don't want to like them, but I feel like I'm
You have to.
slowly just turning very reluctantly into a
Yeah.
Gloucester fan. If I lived in Gloucester, I would have a season ticket. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they just play an exciting brand of rugby. I think they're sort
Yeah,
of like the rugby hipster at the minute. Like
They
I've got like
they love a
I've
Challenge Cup as well. I think 6 finals.
yeah, I've got a 2006 Gloucester jersey that I wore in a podcast the other day. But like I they've sort of became like the hipster. I quite like them rugby team. And also like the fact that they're making big signings, like bringing in Wade and Wade actually doing quite well in the league. It's just mental. Like even like Ross Byrne coming into that team, that's a massive signing. And I always need to say that because everyone thinks Ross Byrne, average player, but he does the basics so well. And you put him in any team and he will do well. Put him in that Bath team and he will do well.
yeah,
Um, I think it's going to be interesting, and I think that's probably it's either that and the Connacht game is my pick to like watch,
yeah.
um because they're just going to be entertaining games all around. But as I said, it's a weird seeding system, isn't it? So
Yeah,
it'd be
very much is.
interesting.
I wouldn't put it
Very
past
interesting.
I wouldn't put it past Gloucester just because they've got, like I said, heritage in this competition.
No.
Okay, I think I need to bring it to an end there. So thank you very much to Adam. Oh, I need to read the scripts. Caolan writes a script for this bit. We will leave it that so, folks. My thanks to Adam and Aaron for joining me tonight. Caolan will be back with a bumper show for the Women's Six Nations this weekend coming and also for the European Cup quarterfinals. You can find links to his channel below, but for now, until next time, take it easy and enjoy the rugby, and I hope everybody's team wins. Cheers.